I want the little sound bites that make you go, wow. And I said something and you went, wow.
We are decreasing how much writing feedback we are giving each other. And part of this was you asked for a little bit less feedback, and I had asked for some feedback from you, and you realized that it probably was best to not give that feedback. So we'll get into a little bit of the details on that in just a little bit.
But before then, we'll just share a little bit of what else has been happening in the 2 weeks since we last met. I have done a lot of reading just because I know that I need to do that to expose myself to good writers. And I found some things that I want to emulate and some things that, well, maybe I don't. So some of the books that I've read in the past couple of weeks, one is The Phantom Tollbooth. It's a sci-fi kind of fantasy, but it's been a staple in our family. All three of the kids have read it. We talk about it all the time, and I had never read it myself, so I read that. Norton Juster, Phantom Tollbooth. Then I've read classic, The Hobbit. Know the story, seen several different film adaptations. Finally, actually read it myself. So J.R.R. Tolkien. And then I began reading Jurassic Park. Again, we've seen the film version of it, but actually reading the novel itself. And what I found is that I don't necessarily want to write the same way that Norton Juster wrote. It's funny. It's kind of like I described it as a cross between John Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress and Roald Dahl's Great Glass Elevator, Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. It's fun to read, not the kind of style I want to be able to create. Then Tolkien's style was really more, as I described it to you, it feel like the narrator is a character. And you said, well, yes. Oh, yeah. The narrator was one of the characters. So the way that Tolkien wrote The Hobbit, the things that he knows, the narrator knows about, and the way that his personality and idiosyncrasies come through, not the way I want to write. But when I was reading Michael Crichton, Jurassic Park, it just felt very similar in the writing style to the way Robert Jordan writes, to the way Brandon Sanderson writes. And I just felt a camaraderie, I guess, with the way that Michael Crichton writes. And from a science fiction standpoint, which is what we're writing now, that is the way that I want to write science fiction.
Mm-hmm. And getting into the actual writing of that science fiction that we're doing, both of us have made some progress over the past 2 weeks. And one of the meeting notes that we had, that you had put down, one of the first things I saw when I opened that page on our shared platform, was that you don't want writing feedback on the first draft. So why did you decide that?
As I'm writing, there's a part of me that, yes, there's the self-critic, and I don't like the way that this is. But even more than that, I found myself wanting to impress with my first draft. I wanted that when you read it, that you would go, ooh, I like that. And the bar was so high, and I didn't feel like I was achieving that goal, and it was slowing me down. So I just wasn't writing anything. And I've read again a reminder, your first draft is not supposed to be good. Just get the story out there so that we can follow the flow of events, get the events out there. Then we can worry about, making sure that all the polish is there. And so just to help me not feel like I want to polish, I needed to believe that nobody was going to be reading it.
Right. That desire for performative writing kind of got in the way of any sort of writing at all.
Absolutely.
And so I had written, I talked a couple of videos ago about how I was writing a scene with a few different people involved, and I was going to write one person's actions, what they were saying, and then write how people were responding to that, because they're in a history class and the teacher is talking, and then some of our main characters are reacting to that. So I just wrote down, here is what the history teacher said. And what I had asked for advice, one of the things I had asked for is, how much of this do you think should be in the book, and how much of it do you think we can cut or trim down, because this is too much to include all of it in the book? And what was your response to that?
Well, I had to think for a bit, figure out how would I know what parts to include and what parts not to include, since I don't know who's going to react yet. Then I said, we don't know how much is too much. I don't remember exactly how I said it.
I think you said a couple things. One of the things that I think stood out to me was, it's not too much unless we don't need it.
Yes, that's what it was. See, that's the kind of, I want the little sound bites that make you go, wow. And I said something and you went, wow, and now I can't remember what it was.
Yes. It's not too much unless we don't need it. So it's easy to look at something, a large block of text, and think, oh, well, that's clearly too much. We can cut some of that. Who knows what part, but some of that should be cut. But if it plays a role in advancing the story, in making the characters more real, if it helps the story progress in any way, then...
Or in this case, if it prompts the other characters to do the thing we need them to do.
Right. And if it makes that more realistic, them making that decision, then no, it's not too much. And I can't make the decision of what do I need to cut and what do I need to keep until I see how all the other parts play into that scene. So that advice that I was asking for was probably not the best sort of advice to ask for. And you did end up giving a little piece of advice that I think will help later on, some ways that teacher can apply some things. But we're changing the ways that we are giving advice to each other, and we think it's going to be helpful in creating a better finished product. So our question for you is, what type of writing advice do you prefer to receive? Let us know in the comments, and we will see you in a few weeks.